12 months ago, Jordan was kind of the unknown. I'm sure he had a lot to prove to himself, to you guys, and the rest of the world. Is Jordan any different here 12 months later?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, just to see how much he's grown over the last year has been awesome. Yeah, fun to just be around him, watch him grow as a leader, as a player, you know, and really take those big steps that he did last year to get us where we went. But yeah, I'm expecting more of the same. Him coming in, he's done a great job so far, so it'll be fun watching him improve this year.
Same mentality, same leadership qualities, kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Has any of that changed?
No, same guy. That's the best thing about Jordan. He comes into work every day. He's the same guy, and just ready to be the best player that he can be and help the team be the best that they can be. So he never wavers from that. It's fun to watch.
How different is it to build an offense right now compared to a year ago?
Oh, it's night and day. It's night and day because, you know, like last year going into the draft, we had maybe 3 receivers on the roster. We had 2 tight ends on the roster. So it was just one of those things where you didn't really know what direction you could go yet because you didn't know who was going to be on your team and what skill set they had. And even going into camp and going into the season, it was the same deal, like how much can you put on these guys' plates and allow them to go out and execute. So now everyone has a year under their belt, so to speak. It's been great to just know what these guys are good at, what they need to improve on, and just allow them, you know, to just go ahead and be the best players that they can be.
So you basically pick up from where you left off with that resurgence later
Yeah.
this season?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're just coming in, and I wouldn't say everyone's just got to have the same mindset of improving, starting from the foundation, but then being able to, you know, take those steps faster than we did last year and really improve a lot.
Really for much of the year last year, but you still had him around at times. What's it like just, you know, with him not here anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it's always sad when stuff like that happens. Obviously, he was such a huge part here for such a long time, and a phenomenal player and phenomenal leader. So it's just been different. Like last year, other guys had to step up and basically take the room over, and that's where you saw guys like Elton and Josh Myers really, you know, just become the leaders of the room. So that was fun to watch from that aspect. Obviously, losing David wasn't fun, but you know, that's one thing about football. You just got to move on and play with the guys you have and make the best of it.
I understand you guys are going to cross-train Jordan Morgan eventually throughout this offseason. He seems to really want to play at left tackle. What have you seen early on that make you think he can be a good left tackle?
Yeah, he's got good movement skills. You know, just watching him out there, he's natural on the edge. He looks comfortable out there. There's obviously some technique stuff we got to clean up, just like anybody. But yeah, I'm excited to work with him and just watch him and see. You know, I wouldn't say he's a tackle. I wouldn't say he's a guard. I just want to see where he fits best for us and with our best 5 out there. So that may be at tackle. It might not be. But I'm excited to work with him and just see you can see his athleticism when he's out there. He's a pretty talented guy.
Take, do you think, to get his hands better? I saw a bunch of clips, and they were almost always out there. Is that something that can be done in a matter of weeks, or is that months, or is that years?
I think it'll take a little bit of time, but you know, if you're intentional about it, to really focus on improving things like that, I think he can, you know, get that fixed.
Do you know why he did it that way? Did they not teach inside techniques?
Yeah, no, I'm not sure what he was coached in the past, so it's just something we'll just have to work on here.
Keep Elton and Zach at left guard and right tackle, even though they can play any of the 5 spots, just so they can focus on one thing?
Yeah, I mean, the fun thing about where we're at right now with the O-line is you can look at it, and there's a lot of different combinations of guys, whether tackle, guard, center, whoever, that you can move around and still have a pretty good O-line. So I'm excited to kind of see how it all shakes out. Obviously, I think Elton's best position is guard or center. And then Zach, he seems to be pretty good on the edge at right tackle. So we'll kind of see how it all shakes out. And you got other guys in there who are going to be fighting for spots too. So it's going to be a pretty interesting battle.
Talking about Jordan's athleticism, Morgan, have you ever
That's one thing we got to make sure. Jordan Morgan or just Morgan. Yeah.
Have you ever come across an offensive lineman that intentionally was given the opportunity to return a kick like he was in high school? I mean, have you ever seen that?
No, I have not. I have not. I've seen some linemen, like, you see guys in high school play like field hockey or normal hockey and stuff like that. You're like, wow, that's pretty impressive at 300-some pounds. But, yeah, no, that was pretty crazy.
Speaking of the offensive line, fascinated by how you feel where you're at, because you lose 3 guys who played a hell of a lot of football for you. Yet you've got a group of 5 that I would think that if you had to play a game tomorrow, you'd feel pretty good about that 5-some. And yet you've also added a first-round pick. So how do you, aside from just the flexibility and the versatility, how do you kind of feel about that mix right now and your options?
Yeah, very excited about it. I think, it's just a matter of putting the best group out there. And there's a lot of different combinations, like I said, that, we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. And that's one thing we always are pretty intentional about, is working guys at multiple positions just to kind of see where they fit best. So I think that's kind of what we'll be doing in OTAs in the early part of camp.
What was your first impression of Monk?
I liked him. He was very explosive when I saw him, just doing his O-line drills and stuff like that. I thought he had a really good explosiveness off the ball, so that was pretty impressive. And that's what we saw on film too. So the cool thing is with those guys, there wasn't any bad surprises. It was all right, these guys looked the part, so it's just a matter of them picking up on the system and fixing their technique and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Generating that competition that you had on the offensive line last year, is that more challenging since it is a younger group compared to?
No, I think it's because we got some depth. We got a lot of good depth. I think that it'll raise it up. There's guys maybe who don't have as much experience as opposed to like a Sean Ryan versus John Runyon, but there's still a lot of guys who can play. So, we're never afraid to play young guys. So it's just one of those things that we'll just give them all opportunities and see who rises.
What excites you the most about adding Josh Jacobs to this offense and just the way that you guys do things?
Yeah, Josh is a phenomenal running back. He's been doing, all-pro a couple of times, and he's just one of those guys that's good in all situations. Good out of the backfield as a receiver, excellent runner. He's a good pass protector. So he's one of those guys that you can really have in the game all the time and not have to worry about anything with him. So that's nice. And just, his experience, his leadership, things like that, are things that I'm excited about having him here and doing a great job for us.
Back to the offensive line, I think back 10 years ago, and this team had a very memorable, good offensive line, but it's not like Dave was going to play right guard. It's not like TJ Lang was going to play left tackle. How much has the evolution of the thought process with versatility, having guys that can just play everywhere and still have that good offensive line, how much has that changed from what we used to?
I think it just depends kind of on your coaching philosophy. Because, I'm sure if David early in his career had played guard, he probably would have done a good job. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where if you believe in training guys in multiple positions and you kind of just do it that way, it's one of those things that guys just get used to, and you can kind of see them in different spots. So I would say just it's more of a coaching philosophy than anything for me.
Impression of Lloyd as a running back and maybe what you think he could bring?
Yeah, I like his speed. I liked his speed a lot. He had some good runs in OTAs where you saw his burst. He's got good vision, so I'm really excited about that, out of the backfield.
He didn't have to play back in 19, right? It was Aaron Jones,
Yeah,
Jamal,
it was
and
mostly
then AJ
Jamal,
just
yeah.
didn't play one game, basically. Can you see that same thing with Lloyd, or do you kind of need to get him out there?
No, I would like to get him out there as much as possible. I think, he's got a skill set that's a little bit different than AJ's as far as his speed. He's not quite the bruiser that he is, obviously, but he's got a different type of skill set. So it'll be nice to get him the ball in space and just see what he can do, because I think he's going to add a good explosive element to the offense for sure.
Been working with Halfley and getting to know him. Have you had him over to the house since he's been?
Well, yeah, I worked with him in San Francisco for a couple years, so it was cool because it was just like, hey man, how you been the last 4 years? You know what I mean? So it was cool to be around him. Same guy. He's such an intelligent, good dude, and then how he is with the players. Yeah, I'm excited about him, and I know he loves it here.
Did you see that trajectory for him, you know, the defensive coordinator when you're working on the back?
Yeah, he was very intelligent, and I left to come here, and he went to Ohio State to become the defensive coordinator, so we kind of left at the same time too. And so it was cool to see him, you know, get a head job at Boston College and do all that. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited to have him here.
You know, having Jordan back, making it easier to draw stuff up.
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love,
Okay,
sorry.
got it.
I got to work on that too.
Yeah.
How much does it help that you basically have your top 6 receivers
Yeah,
and top 2
I mean,
or 3 tight ends back too?
Just like we were talking earlier, it's night and day. Like, we can go out there right now and just run plays, and it's not like we're installing everything for the first time. We can just say, hey, run this, this formation, whatever it is. We can start experimenting on things faster and just like, you know, taking the next steps with the offense. So it's been good.
Davian obviously did really well last season, but kind of going into the offseason, what were things that you guys maybe preached to them about how to just come into year 2 even better?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, you know, when you get guys who leave for the first time in the offseason, you know, you want them to relax a little bit and just like, you know, go be a normal person. But they also need to understand, like, when we come back, it's going to be work time. So you got to be in shape. And some guys understand that and some guys don't. The encouraging thing was every single guy that came back, they came back in great shape, ready to work. So that was nice just to see the maturity level of them and just being ready, being professional, and coming to get better.
Back to the offense and the jump. I'm not sure if you used those words, but I know it was several times with different guys that there was no expectations heading into last year offensively. So what are the expectations this year when you guys, the last 8 games last year, you guys are as hot as could be?
Yeah, we know how good we can be, but we need to understand that no one's going to give it, no one's going to hand anything to us in this league. Everything must be earned. It's just the intentionalness of going out there every single day and working hard and working at your craft and just being the best player that you can be. That's what's going to take us back to the playoffs and see as far as, you know, get as far as we can go. So that's the biggest thing in this part of the year is just making sure we're taking those little steps to get better from wherever we're at, just getting better every single day.
2 more.
Adam, are you okay with the wide receiver room still pushing each other versus having an alpha kind of just take charge of that room and leading the group? Or?
Yeah, no, I would, you know, it just depends on the kind of guys you have in there, but every single one of those guys is just such a intentional, you know, hardworking guy that I think they all kind of just feed off each other. So it's been really cool to just see how they're all genuinely happy for each other's success, and they all just help each other out. So I think that's been cool to watch.
To your answer to Matt's question with the receivers and the tight ends, you said experimenting. You got 6, 8 receivers that could play for you right now with different skill sets. You've got Luke and obviously Tucker and Ben. How much more creative, how much more changing formations, basically play to play to play, can you be because of the wealth of pass catchers you have to kind of choose?
Yeah, I mean, you're always looking to take the next step. You have to keep evolving, and so it's just a matter of what's our best next step, you know what I mean, or next 2 things that we want to do. So that's the thing we can work on now. It's not just running the foundational base things, but now we can just, all right, let's see how this looks, you know what I mean, maybe get this guy the ball in a certain way, whatever it is, a certain package with particular players on the field, just stuff like that where you can see, all right, is this the direction we want to go?